fast forward to
August 4th.
4th August.
Yeah, 1998. I was in the Farouk camp in Khost, and celebratory gunfire exploded all over the place. I hear the shouts of Takbir, Allahu Akbar, and the shouts of celebration, and and people shooting, into the air. What's happening? And we were told that the largest CIA station in East Africa has been leveled to the ground. CIA station? Perfect. Well, that's exactly what we are training for, is to attack America and its forces, and a CIA, outpost is a legitimate target. Perfect. Of course, I had a radio at the time. Many of us had their own private radios, so to listen to the news. And for me, two particular radio stations were important. It was the BBC Arabic Global Service, and the Kuwait news. For some reason we were able to receive it there.
Okay.
And the news came. It was the U.S. Embassy. So it wasn't a CIA station per se, but it's okay. America always hide their intelligence behind embassies. But then the news started to come more and more the next day and the day after. 224 dead. 12 of them Americans. 212 were all people from multiple African countries. First of all, there were a lot of Kenyans themselves, but there were a lot of Somalis. You see, Somalis who want to travel to the US, they have to go to the US Embassy in Nairobi because there is no US Embassy in Somalia. And so there were at least 55 Somalis who were killed, all of them Muslims. And then I heard 5,000 people were wounded. And then this is when it came to me that they were telling us, guys, for every 1 ton of explosives, you add 100 kg of small nails. You take the kgs of small nails and you spread it, within the material. So to basically create 5,000, 6,000 bullets, basically all across. Shrapnel effect. 5,000 wounded, 150 of them blinded for life because of all these small nails. So 150 blinded for life. The casualty figures were horrifying. And I remember this is when I started to have serious doubts. People always tell me, Aimen, come on, you signed up for Al-Qaeda, you should have known what you are signing up for. I said, no, I didn't sign up for this. Okay, if I was in Al-Qaeda for years and then I flip after that, yes, okay, you have the right to tell me, that I didn't know what I knew what I was doing, and then, I had a change of heart. But this isn't even a change of heart, to be honest. I felt like that's not what I signed up for. I thought we are going to fight soldier to soldier, the Americans, an American, influence in the region, drive away their forces. Why are we killing Africans in Africa, in huge mass casualty attack? How will that get the Americans to leave? If anything, this could actually achieve the opposite. And I remember that, for me at the time, the being inquisitive, but also being God-fearing, I started asking myself, okay, for everyone else here, they are not as educated as me, in religion. And so, and also at the same time, none of them is being prepared to be sent abroad to build these massive devices. And then I will be responsible for each and everyone. So as a visualizing person, I can visualize those people lining up before God in the day of judgment and asking me, or asking him to ask me, why did he kill us? Why? What is the purpose? Why are we dead? Why our loved ones suffered long after us because they lost the income, they lost the father, the mother, the brother, the person who was looking after them. Why? So you start to think about consequences. You start to think, I'm the one who's going to do it. 99% of those around me, They can celebrate all they want. They can, praise it all they want. They can, justify it all they want, but I can't. I'm having really difficulty here because I'm the one who's going to pull the trigger. I'm the one who's going to do it. And so I remember I went to the Mufti of Al-Qaeda at that time, Abu Abdullah al-Muhajir. So I went to him and I asked him, I said, look, I'm coming here asking questions just to be, just to have my heart at peace. I'm not questioning, I'm not doubting. I just want my heart to be at peace here. What we did in Nairobi, given how many civilians were killed, many of them are Muslims also, so did we do the right thing here? Because I told them, Abu Abdullah, please understand that I'm going to be one of those sent to do it. Yeah. So you have to pay attention to me. You have to put my heart at ease. Tell me, that religious justification, that theological justification, that what we are doing is right. He said, yeah, don't worry, Aimen, basically everything is fine. He said to me, do you remember there is a fatwa called the Tatarrus fatwa, the human shield fatwa? No, I don't. He said, look, you will find it in the comprehensive works of Ibn Taymiyyah. That's what he told me. But listen, the gist of the fatwa is that if the enemy is hiding among civilians and putting their, most prized installations within civilian population, then we are allowed in that situation to attack, and if civilians die, then it's up to God to make it up to them. So God will make it up to them, don't worry. Basically God will sort them out. It's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to fight and to kill the enemy. Collateral damage, that's God to take care of. That's up to God to take care of them. He will make it up to them. He will give them, an amazing afterlife. So I was like, okay, so again, where do I find this fatwa? So he said, in the comprehensive works of Ibn Taymiyyah. And then before I left, he said to me, and listen, just remember, they are just a bunch of Africans, who care? He's Egyptian, and it's like I was thinking, my God, the racism, coming out of his mouth, and he's the Mufti of Al-Qaeda. And he said, just a bunch of Africans. In my heart, I was telling him, I was saying, should I tell the Somalis here what you just said? There are some Somali jihadists here. Should I tell them, you're a bunch of Africans who are worthless? I kind of, decided not to push it with him. And 2 weeks later, I was in the grand headquarters of Al-Qaeda in Kabul. Now, this is a big kind of mansion in Wazir Akbar Khan neighborhood in Kabul. And I love going there because there was a library. There were more than 2,000 books there. So it was like a kind of heaven for me. So I love spending time there. And there I decided, okay, I have to find the comprehensive works of Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah is a scholar who lived 700 years ago, in the 1300s. So he is again, an essential theological, for fundamentalist Sunni Islam, he is the absolute theological authority for fundamentalist Sunni Islam. So I went there. So the problem is the comprehensive works of Ibn Taymiyyah is 37 volumes. I don't know, that's 14,000 pages to go through. But then thank God the last 2 volumes are actually the indices. So I went Tatarrus. So I was looking for the letter Ta in Arabic, T. Okay, that's it, Tatarrus. Okay, so, okay. Volume 28. Picked up volume 28, opened it. And this is when, the moment of realization, the moment that the perception, everything that you believed in, everything you thought that your comrades are, come shattering down. Because that fatwa, which allows the killing of civilians, during a time of war, is like this. So Ibn Taymiyyah did not issue that fatwa. He was actually talking about fatwas that preceded him by 100 years. So he was talking about the early 1200s during the Mongol invasions of Muslim Central Asia. Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, like Otrar, Naisapur, Bukhara, Tashkent, Samarkand, Balkh, Mazar-e Sharif, all of these places when the Mongols were invading Genghis Khan. So he was talking about the Muslims of these cities, and these are cities of immense civilization, immense culture and riches. So they were sending emissaries, envoys, to the rest of the Muslim world, especially in Persia, in places like, of knowledge, like Mardin in modern day Turkey. That's why they call it the Mardin Fatwa. And Erdebil and other places. They are asking this specific question. The Mongols, every time they sack a city, they take a couple of thousand civilians from that city, men, women, older children, and make them push the Mongol siege towers towards the walls of the next city they are attacking. So they don't want to lose their own soldiers. These people are expendable. So they send the civilians, the prisoners, to push the siege towers. Cost effective, but extremely brutal. So the Muslim defenders finding it very difficult, to kill their own people, especially when there are women and children there, who are themselves crying in agony and pain, and they are chained. And so, are we allowed? So the fatwas came back. They're saying this is one of the situations where the necessity overweighed the prohibition. It's a life and death situation. They are dead anyway, because the Mongols will kill them after that anyway. They are, they're going to be a waste of food and money and, resource. So they are dead, whether by your hands or the Mongol hands. Defend yourselves. Try to last as best as you could. Now, look at the fatwa, the religious edict there. Look at the fatwa that is there. And look at what the Mufti of Al-Qaeda told me. And can you see any application of this to this? Was the American embassy in Nairobi pushing siege towers towards Mecca or Medina that we needed there and then right now to attack it, to kill these diplomats and to destroy the embassy? And I felt that if this is the first major attack they do, because it was their first attack, what are they going to do next? And I'm not going to be part of this story. Thank you so much. I'm out of here. So I decided there and then, I want to be out. And the fact that a week later I survived the cruise missile attack by the US in retaliation for the embassy attacks was in itself a sign. I took it as a sign. And there were so many details there. I talk about how I survived it. But I thought, I want to be out of here. Now, luckily enough, there was a pretext. The pretext is that I was supposed to go back to Qatar because just in December 1997, I had an awful illness. I had typhoid and malaria attacking me at the same time. I lost half of my weight. I almost died. So I was sent to Qatar for treatment, came back. I was told I have to come back a year later to check if there was a permanent damage to the liver. So I submitted a request that I have to go back to Qatar for the, no problem, you can go.
Is it that easy to get out of?
When you are already someone who is designated safe traveler, you remember they are giving me tasks and everything, so I'm designated safe traveler. In other words, I never betrayed them. I can come and go, and no one will ask questions and everything. So
they trusted you.
They trusted the fact that I will go back. I'll come back. So I was, I remember in Peshawar airport, I took Qatar Airways, aircraft, and I remember in the airplane, as soon as I sat down, I recited there and then, as the aircraft was flying, taking off, I renounced my oath of allegiance. I just renounced it. I just said, God, I'm no longer part of it. I don't want to be part of it. And then I said, wherever you take me, I go. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just leaving, but I have no idea what's lying ahead of me. Like, I mean, at the time, all I wanted just is to be as far away from Afghanistan as possible. Then when I get to the other destination, I will think about it. And a long story happened. Like, and after I reached Qatar, so many events happened from the moment I arrived. But within 9 days, I was recruited by MI6, by the British intelligence agency.
But how?
When I arrived in Qatar, the Qataris were already aware I was arriving. And they were tipped off by the French intelligence. Now, remember, I just turned 20. And you know, when you are 20, you don't appreciate, the fact that you could be somehow an important person, that matter, as far as intelligence agencies of the world are concerned. I did not know that I was known.
So you were being tracked by intelligence agencies already?
Yeah, because I was Abu Khabbab trainee. And after the incident just 4 months earlier in Nairobi and Tanzania, everyone who was with Abu Khabbab will be known. And also I was an associate with Abu Zubaydah. The master facilitator for Al-Qaeda. The one who Khalid Sheikh Mohammed gave me his number, and the one who is the head of the Safe Houses network for Al-Qaeda. So because of these two associations, Abu Khabbab, Abu Zubaydah, I'm a traveler, and so...
And you are young, so you may be brainwashed again.
Yes. And so I arrived to Qatar, and the intelligence agencies there, we're just waiting. I didn't know that. And then I remember when, I was taken into custody in Qatar, and it was all done in a very civilized way. There was no, guns and everything and all of that. It was like literally, my friend who was with me in the car, the one who picked me up from the airport, receiving a call on his phone, and he was told, look, there is a security car ahead of you, security car behind you, just keep calm, keep following the car ahead of you all the way to the security headquarters near the Sheraton Hotel in Doha. Everything will be fine. And tell your friend that he will be well treated, so he doesn't need to run or escape or anything. There is no escape. Just tell him to calm down. Everything will be fine. For me, it's like, oh, that's fine, actually. I don't give a damn. It's like,
Why were you not scared?
I wasn't.
Why?
Because, for me, I thought the opportunity to come clean just presented itself. So they put me in a room. I'm in a chair. There is a very long table at the other end there. Lights were on me just like this, and I can barely see, basically, who will sit there. And, the people came, 9 of them. There were some Qatari intelligence officers, and they were augmented by, seconded, because the Qataris were short on manpower. They were using Sudanese and Jordanian intelligence officers to work with them. So there were Sudanese and Jordanian intelligence officers, and I did not know that, but there was a camera and broadcasting to another room, and the other room there were in French DGSE intelligence officers. So I'm sitting there, and I'm kind of thinking, okay, what are they going to ask? And so they said, but they were holding my passport. Is this your name? Yes. Okay. And then they opened another paper, and they said, did you go by these aliases? And they were listing my aliases in Bosnia and the Caucasus and Pakistan, Afghanistan. I said, yes, these are all mine. Do you admit that you are an associate of Abu Zubaydah? Yes. They were taken aback. Usually people will say, who?
Yeah.
Abu what? It's like, but for me, I wasn't playing dumb with them. I said, yes, of course I am an associate of Abu Zubaydah. Okay. Do you deny that you were trained at Abu Khabbab camp? No. I don't deny that I was trained at Abu Khabbab camp. I was trained at Abu Khabbab camp. Do you deny that you swore an allegiance to Osama bin Laden, that you're a member of Al-Qaeda? No. It happened in September in 97, last year. Do you deny that you went to this camp and this camp and this camp? And then I said, no. It's all fine. I've been to all these places. And then the chief interrogator said, wait a minute here, like, basically something is wrong here. Why are you being, like, so honest here? Why are you becoming, why you are so, straightforward? It's like, yeah, I know you expected resistance, and I'm going to say, like, hurling insults at you and calling you, like, basically the servants of the tyrants, and, giving you some sermons or whatever. But no, actually, like, to tell you the truth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I told them exactly what I told you right now about all of, and they were listening, intently. And so they said, and what were you doing coming here? Why did you come here? Well, I had to get as far away from that place as possible, and that's a, first friendly, or I thought friendly, destination. I needed a place to think what to do next, and I was thinking maybe I could stay here. After all, I'm a Bahraini. I could live in Qatar all I want. It's like the GCC, So, and it's like, oh, we see. Okay. Then they started whispering to each other, and then they said, give us a few minutes. They went, and goodness, like, they took forever. And then they came back. They switched on all the lights, and they were, like, smiling, and they were, first of all, shaking my hand and then giving me hugs. And they said, well done. So does that mean, like, you are okay with us, you being our guests, here? I said, by guest, you mean, like, basically in a cell? No. There are plenty of empty offices here. We're going to repurpose one of them to be your bedroom here. We will bring you good food. You will have a good blanket, a good place, like a good bed to sleep on. It's just we need to debrief you. We need, to ask you many questions, but if you're okay, like, it could take a few days. And then you are out, we promise. Okay. Do you really promise? He said, yes, on my honor. Wa'ad sharaf, they call it in Arabic. Okay. So I gave them lots of information that led to the first ever photograph, the passport copy. I knew where the exact location of a passport copy in Peshawar of Abu Zubaydah, and his picture in it, in a bank with the bank account, and the bank account he used on behalf of Al-Qaeda. So in Peshawar, next to where exactly, like, so I draw them lots of maps, lots of phone numbers, lots of, like, places, like, and all of that, like, and then day 9 came, and I was thinking, okay, a few days are now coming into double digits days, like, basically, like, yes, there were 3 meals from the Sheraton and everything, and I'm grateful, but, like, I don't like to be, losing liberty, like, and so I said, you told me, like, I will be leaving. They said, oh, no, don't worry, like, basically, your good day has come, so come with me. So they took me to see a very senior Qatari, security official who's also a royal, a member of the royal family. And there, he gave me, like, basically the bombshell, a really big bombshell to my life, like, the biggest bombshell of my life, like, until then, where he said to me, look, first of all, we thank you so much for everything you've done. You made us look good in front of our, intelligence partners in France. Abu Zubaydah was an important person for them because he was one of those people responsible for the 1995 metro bombings in Paris. Yeah, I said I knew that. So, yeah, a lot of the information you provided, like, has led to, a lot of points of inquiry. It could lead to arrests. It could lead to convictions. You've done really well. Listen, we cannot keep you here in Qatar. Because Doha is only 200,000 people. At that time, it was really a tiny town. Lots of your friends could see you here, will know you, will know, like, about you, like, that you don't want to go back. And they invested so much in you, like, and we can't, risk your life. So what we are suggesting is there are 3 intelligence agencies that are very interested in working with you. And it's like, oh my God, that's not exactly, like, basically what I had in mind. He said to me, look, you seem to me like an intelligent person. Do you really think, with everything that you've been involved in, that there is an easy way out? Okay. So you mean, like, basically I have to pay my taxes, like, in order to have the easy way out? Yeah. So you have to pay some tax here. So I said, who's asking? So he said, yeah, I'm glad, like, basically you're dealing with it as a matter of fact. Okay, so it is the French, the Americans, and the British.
So you have CIA recruiting, you have MI6 recruiting,
And
you have
DGSE.
DGS.
So I said,
So French intelligence, American intelligence, or British intelligence.
yeah. So I said, I don't like the French language. I don't like French culture. So X straight away. As for the Americans, I just survived, 4 months ago, I just survived, their cruise missiles. Not exactly like, a friendly conversation gonna be. The British, however, basically it's an easier, ask.
Why? Why not Americans? Because if you'd help them, because your people and the place where you were, they were the biggest enemies of American, and they've caused maximum damage to America. So if you would have helped them, they would have probably given you a lot more, right?
Remember that I was trained on counterintelligence inside Al-Qaeda. And one of the things, we were told that MI6 was far superior to CIA.
Why?
Because they have far better intelligence gathering techniques, capabilities when it comes to human intelligence. They care more for their agents, and they have far more loyal, they are more loyal to their agents. While the Americans is always the use and abuse, way. So it's stuck in my mind for some reason.
Is it true?
Yes.
British intelligence cares about their agents and American intelligence doesn't?
Don't.
They don't care.
They use and abuse and discard. Use, abuse, discard. The Brits, however, loyalty to the end. Absolute loyalty to the end, and I testify to that. Thank God I did that that day.
Okay.
So
Then?
made the right choice.
So you joined British intelligence.
So I was asking him, okay, how long do I have, before I make my final decision? He said half an hour. Wow, generous. Okay, so can I go to my room, the office, where I'm in prison, because there is a prayer mat there. I'm gonna pray the guardian's prayer, and I prayed the guardian's prayer. I felt better. When is the flight going? Tonight. Wow, no wasting time, huh? So I remember, basically, it was 16 December 1998. Two British intelligence officers. The both heads, actually, that was surprising to me, but the head of counter Islamist terrorism in MI6 and the head of the counter Islamist terrorism in MI5, both of them were waiting for me. So I arrived there, and they were there. And they took me aside, and of course they took me into a room and everything, and of that there were debriefings. And based on everything, they said, before Christmas was just 9 days away, they said, we didn't know that Santa was living in Afghanistan. He sent us such a wonderful gift. And there started the journey of 8 years. I was told there would be debriefings that will last 2 months.
Which city was this? Which city you met?
Heathrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
London.
Yeah, London. And then a whole, cover story was, created in conjunction with the Qataris about me needing an urgent care in a hospital in Cromwell, road, which is Cromwell Hospital in London, and all of that. And, and then I was able to naturally, melt into the Al-Qaeda, infrastructure in London. So they thought okay, since you are in London already, you might as well, do this, do that. And
But you never went back to Afghanistan?
No, I did. What? You have to. Tax. You have to pay your tax.
So you were, okay, so these British officers met you, and then you smoothly entered Al-Qaeda operations in London.
Yeah. Although, there is a very sophisticated cover story. Read the book, don't be lazy. But anyway. But it was there that within months, it became very clear that I have to go. Because Al-Qaeda is asking for me to be back, many people are asking me for me back, and I'm like, okay, but how do you avoid, being pulled into operational role? Because I'm a bomb maker after all. So again, we created, it took a while, we created a whole new, business cover, So how to target certain leaders of Al-Qaeda with business proposals about me helping them export honey and spices and Himalayan salt, from Pakistan and what is called, the Pakistani administrative Kashmir, to the GCC, which made a lot of money. For these Al-Qaeda leaders. It was for their personal use, so they can marry 2 or 3 more wives, basically each one of them. It was a brilliant strategy. It lasted 33 months, perfect. And it allowed me to travel, go and through, and they didn't want to lose me to an attack. No. This is a very valuable guy. He's making us money. So I wasn't making money for the organization. I was making money for 5 leaders, for their personal, income.
Oh. And then, but in London, what were you doing for them?
London, it was all about equipment, satellite phones, which we used to, MI6 used to, rig in order to listen on their conversations. And of course, there was the question of fundraising and most importantly, recruitment.
Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. We would love to know what you liked or disliked about this episode and which guest you would like to see again on this show, or which are the new guests that you want to see. Let us know in the comments. Your feedback helps us improve and make every episode a little better. I'll see you the next time. Until then, keep figuring out.